Welcome back, everyone, to Season 3, Episode 22 of the Inside the Woods podcast. Valley News show where every week we've been giving you an inside look at Dartmouth Big Green athletics. I'm your host, Mike Coughlin, and this week we're talking men's lacrosse.
And they're going to cruise their way to their third victory here to get the season started in 2026. No doubt left as the Big Green top the Saints of Siena for the fifth consecutive season this afternoon by a 13-6 final here in Hanover.
That's how the Big Green's latest matchup ended on the ESPN Plus broadcast as they picked up their third win in a row, defeating Siena 13-6 at home last Saturday. Stu Gates was the leading scorer for Dartmouth with 4 goals. Additionally, Spencer Regan, Tyler Juhlin, and Zach Bai scored twice. Nick Moore, Alex Jesse, and Thomas Power each added 1 goal of their own. Dartmouth has caught fire since losing their opener against nationally ranked Boston University, beating Vermont and Merrimack in addition to their Siena win to sit currently at 3-1. On this week's show, I have sophomore attacker Tyler Juhlin, who leads the Big Green in scoring with 9 goals. I also have head coach Sean Kirwan on to get his thoughts on the squad's start to the season and their upcoming matchup on Saturday at Utah. Now, with introductions out of the way, let's get to our first interview of the show. Now joining me on the show is sophomore attacker Tyler Juhlin. Tyler leads the Big Green in goals this season with 9 and has scored at least twice in each contest this season. Hi Tyler, thanks for joining the show.
Hi Mike, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, as I said, you're currently leading the Big Green in scoring to start the season with 9 goals. You're just 1 goal short of matching your scoring output from all of last season. What would you credit for the hot offensive start you've had in your sophomore season?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, my coaches obviously and teammates are, making it easy and, putting me in positions to make me successful in the field. And, other than that, I would say inherently as a freshman, you kind of, there's a little bit of anxiousness and uneasiness, everything's new when you're a freshman. And, just being a contributor last year and, this being my second go around at it, it's kind of made it a little easier, nothing's really new anymore, and I'm just able to go out there and play and kind of think less. So that's kind of been a big difference so far.
Right, and while you've enjoyed a nice start to the season, the squad as a whole has 2 offensively. Dartmouth is second in the Ivy League in goals per game, averaging a little over 13. What do you think has been working for the offense as a whole in your first few games?
Yeah, I would say early on, we were kind of letting other teams kind of dictate the tempo a little bit and kind of, straying away from our game. But I would say, as the games have gone, we've done a better job of, playing fast, and, just having much higher pace, which is what we're kind of looking for this year. And, with that comes just sharing the ball much easier and, putting the ball in the back of the net more. So, yeah, we've been playing a lot better the last few weeks, but, we haven't even really scratched the surface yet. So still aiming to do even better. So.
Right, and up next for you and the rest of the team is a road matchup with Utah on Saturday. What can fans expect from you and the squad when you all take on the Utes?
Yeah, it'll be a great one. We have a ton of respect for these guys. They've been in the tournament a couple times recently and, play a unique style of game. And, we're just going to go out there and try to, play our game, not really cater to them. And, yeah, like I said, it'll be a great showdown, and we're really excited to be out here. Be a little bit away from the East Coast, which is nice a little bit.
Right, and finally, amidst your second season with the Big Green, we'd like to ask if you could give our audience some insight on how you've enjoyed being at Dartmouth College, both on and off the field.
Yeah, it's been an awesome experience. Obviously the academic side of it, you just get to go to one of the best institutions in the world, and, other than that, just get to play. For us, we get to play for, I think, the best coaching staff in the country, and, one of the toughest leagues out there, especially this year. And, I think every term so far, I've just grown as a person. I'm hoping that's something that can continue. And, I'm just eternally grateful for the experience. And, yeah, I'm ready to keep it going this year. So.
Well, thanks very much for coming on the show, Tyler. I appreciate it, and I wish you and the rest of the squad luck this weekend.
Thank you so much for having me, Mike.
Prior to our interview with Sean, let's dig into the numbers on Dartmouth's next matchup with Utah. The Utes of the Atlantic Sun Conference enter Saturday's contest at 3-2 on a 2-game win streak. Utah most recently bludgeoned Iona last Saturday 32-4. Thanks in large part to that performance, the Utes lead their conference in goals per game with almost 16, assists per game with 10, points per game with almost 26, and shots on goal per game with over 30.5. Defensively, they aren't too shabby either, leading the Atlantic Sun Conference in goals against average, allowing just over 8.5 goals per game. The Big Green, who also enter Saturday's game on a win streak, have been pretty good offensively in their own right. They're second in the Ivy League in goals per game with over 13, third in assists per game with just over 7.5, third in points per game with almost 21, and third in shots on goal per game with just over 24.5. Dartmouth has not been as strong defensively as the Utes, though, allowing almost 10 goals per game, which is fifth in the Ivy League. There is not an extensive history between these two programs, as the only matchup between them was last season, which the Big Green won at home 11-9. Now that we got a look at the numbers, let's get to our interview with Sean. Joining me on the show now is Big Green men's lacrosse coach Sean Kirwan. Sean has been with Dartmouth since June of 2023 and currently has his squad 3-1 to start the season. Hi Sean, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. Excited to be on here and to talk Big Green lacrosse.
Right, so, after dropping the season opener to a top 20 ranked BU, the team has ripped off 3 straight wins. How happy were you with your squad's ability to shake off that loss and get rolling, and how would you assess how your team has played through your first 4 games?
Yeah, definitely proud of the resilience that our team showed. That was certainly a humbling moment, down in Boston playing a very good BU team. But our guys knew that they just had to, get back to work and get back to, playing Dartmouth lacrosse and holding ourselves to the championship standard that we've set. And so I've been really proud to see that continue, not just for one game after BU, but the next 3. Our guys, have been able to string together some great moments in those games, but have left those games still feeling unsatisfied with what the potential of this group could be. And so that keeps that hunger going in practice every day to continue to improve as the season goes on.
Right, and on this week's show, I also have on sophomore attacker Tyler Juhlin, who leads your team in goals with 9. Tyler, along with freshman Stu Gates and sophomore Alex Jesse, who each have 8 goals, have been lighting up the scoreboard. How happy have you been with the production of these underclassmen? And was this sort of production from some of the youth on the team something you expected going into the season?
Yeah, I think no one wants to be too young, but I think for us it's just leaning into to what we have in our locker room, and so we've got young guys that a group of sophomores with Ty and Alex and plenty more that were mainstays on our roster last year. So yes, they're sophomores and still young on the book, but all that experience that they got all of last year has accelerated their growth tremendously. And then, we have some really talented freshmen that, haven't batted an eye about stepping up into big roles and continue to grow. And so it can be a lot of fun. There's a lot of, feels like every day we're learning something new as a team and every day we're growing, but that keeps things exciting. And so, it's just happens to be where our roster shakes out. We have a really small senior class with only 7 seniors. So that naturally will make you rely on some of your younger guys, as it is.
Right, and last season the team had its most wins in Ivy League play in a season since 2010 with 2. While your first conference game is not until March 20th at Harvard, what are you all working on to build on from last season and, try and pick up some more wins in Ivy League play?
Yeah, I think it's just a day-by-day process. We've set a pretty high standard for ourselves and for us, so it really doesn't matter who the opponent is or who we're preparing for. It's just it's us going to work and making sure we not only withhold that, that standard, but, also raise it as best we can. And so the Ivy League's an incredibly tough team. So, we've been challenging ourselves out of conference, getting prepared. But at the end of the day, we just got to continue to see that growth, especially with a young team. You need that steady growth throughout the year and never should really feel comfortable with where you're at, especially with these daunting league opponents coming down the chute here.
Right, and up next for the team is a road battle against Utah. What have you seen from the Utes in your review of them, and what is it going to take to come away with a win on Saturday?
Yeah, Utes are an exciting team. I'm taking this call in Salt Lake City right now, and so it's we're excited to get out here and bring two of our guys home. Thomas Vandenberg, a senior, Spencer Regan, a sophomore, both from Utah. So for them to be around their friends and family is exciting. But the Utes are, Coach McMinn does a great job with that team. They know their identity. They're a fast-paced, aggressive, opportunistic team, and they're gonna push the pace, and which is exciting for us. This is something that we feel like we've gotten a lot better at this year comparatively to the years past, and so it should make for a really exciting game. But this game is really won in the middle of the field. Who can win the transition battle, who can pick up more ground balls, all of that, who can have their way at the face-off X. That's where I see this game really tilting one way or the other, which makes for an exciting brand of lacrosse. So we're excited to get out there and play on a beautiful Saturday.
Right, and finally, 2026 marks 100 years of men's lacrosse at Dartmouth. What does it mean to you to be the one leading the Big Green in their centennial season?
It's incredibly humbling. It's an honor. It's for all the coaches that came before me, and more importantly, all the players that came before me and continue to support this program. I feel incredibly lucky and fortunate to be the head coach of Dartmouth, and for it to be the 100th year just makes it that much special. But to hear from all the alums, to for all of them to get excited about where the program's at and where it's headed into the next 100 years is really special. So it's a special group of alums, and that I've been lucky enough to get to know, and so for us to be able to celebrate the first 100 years is really special.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, Sean. I really appreciate it, and I wish you and your team luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Go Big Green.
And that was Season 3, Episode 22 of the Inside the Woods podcast. As always, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week for some more Dartmouth Athletics talk. Till then, enjoy the rest of your week.